The halving is a brutal wipeout event. It knocks out immediately the miners who are not efficient enough, and it shows no mercy. Yeah? It's really, in that regard, very brutal.
We're not very optimistic with Bitcoin halving in the short term. We think that the price is going to go down, the Bitcoin price is going to go down. Bitcoin Cash price is also going to go down.
I'm not too worried. I view crypto in two ways. It's either going to be worth zero and I have to find something else, or it's not. And that's how I approach it. So it doesn't really bother me.
It's going to be very difficult times for the least efficient miners and the smaller miners.
If you look at 6 months before the halving to 6 months after the halving on both previous instances, you see massive upward surge in the price of Bitcoin. It is a bit scary being a miner and knowing that your revenue stream is going to get cut in half overnight, but the exchange rate will more than compensate for the reduction in our Bitcoin denominated revenue.
其实现在的影响并不像以前那么剧烈，因为经历过16年的那次减半，其实对这个价格的影响并不是很大，然后反而是在这个减半的前部或者减半的后部会有一定的这个价格的浮动，其余的应该还好。
I think the halving is a little bit overhyped, specifically in this year. People have access to cheaper power compared to the last 2 years. I've seen, ordinary people have access to 3 and 4 cent power, sometimes as low as 2.5.
I don't think too many people are going to stop what they're doing unless they simply cannot afford to do it.
I think it'll have quite a large effect on mining, depending on electricity prices and efficiency and cooling, how that's done in each miner's case. It's going to be a huge determining factor if they're going to make it past the halving or not.
Well, I think the effect is that it causes caution on behalf of miners to invest in expansion and new servers and what have you. But I think that's something that we need in the industry. Until we introduce some of these customer acquisition campaigns to convince and introduce more people to the Bitcoin ecosystem, it's dangerous. Even in the absence of a halving, it's dangerous for us to overbuild mining infrastructure.
Over time, the market will adjust, whether that's in terms of price or in terms of the mining difficulty. That may take a few months, and so over time that will level off, but in the short term I think it is a very big effect for the mining industry.
The important thing about the halving that happens in May 2020, it will bring down inflation to below the inflation of the dollar and the euro. So actually for the first time Bitcoin will have some inflationary advantages, or some economic advantages over the euro and the dollar. Not just privacy, etc., but actual economic advantages. So currently if I start mining today, it's going to cost me about $7,490 to produce one Bitcoin. And that is the intrinsic value of Bitcoin. Yeah? And currently we're on the edge of that at the moment, because I think the markets are hovering around 8. Yeah. This has happened before. Yeah? For me it's an opportunity. If you're long on Bitcoin, this is an opportunity to increase your exposure. But there are a lot of people who are nervous at the moment, especially one of the things I think that where even I'm a little bit nervous is that the store of value hypothesis is not proving itself at the moment, which is a bit concerning.
I suppose that if people are not able to make money on one chain, they will move on to another.
The effect of the 3-week difference, short term, of course, we're going to see a lot of volatility. Long term, I don't think it's going to be very large.
Probably a lot of miners will end up switching to the later one for those 3 weeks, but that would cause the difficulty to increase. So it'll be around the same, basically the same payment in both.
I think it'll be very volatile. So people will definitely be switching also from Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash and also Bitcoin SV. It's an opportunity for miners to arbitrage on the profits of mining, and there'll be other factors as well, because the hydro season in China will start at the end of May or early June, which is also around the time of the halving. So a lot of things will be happening around that time.
You will see a large number of miners move towards BTC, towards Bitcoin Core. And of course you can also see the reverse, just depending on how the price moves at the time of the halving.
I would assume it has to go up. At a certain point, miners are not going to want to sell the coin for the same price that they were before when it's harder to get. So it should correct.
I don't think that they will directly after the halving. I think it'll take a bit longer. It'll lag behind. We saw that case with Litecoin specifically, which is one that happened pretty recently. Everybody was expecting the price to go up, but but the price was highest right before the halving, and then right after it completely collapsed. And so far it's been a month and a half. It's slowly been recovering, but it's taking its time. Mining has been profitable in Litecoin, given that the difficulty went down quite a bit because miners who were least efficient had to end up shutting down the machines because they were losing money for every Litecoin that they mined.
If you look at the 2012 halving, it was 12 months before the halving that the start of the bull trend started. And for the 2016 halving, it was 9 months before. So today we are 7 months before the next halving. I think we will see, I believe we'll see a bullish trend through the halving and through 2020. But it does not mean it'll be automatically doubling the price.
The difficulty when the halving comes and the profitability from the miners go down, a lot of miners get squeezed out, so that means that the difficulty will decrease tendentially after the halving, and the price before the halving will increase.
I do not think they will double. We have seen before that the prices have always gone up, but I do not think they will double. But also I do not know exactly what to expect in terms of the price.
We've got a price target on Bitcoin, I think, on end of 2021, mid 2022 of around 50K, 25 to 50K, 50K being the upper limit, 25 being the lower limit. But I don't think that halving is going to be some sort of magic little bullet, then suddenly everything's going to go up.
A lot of the operators that don't have efficient operations, cheap power, good uptime, maybe software tweaks, they're going to have a rough time. And I think that we will see an effect on overall hash rate, but it's no different than before.
It'll definitely rearrange the mining market. I think, like I said, the smaller miners and the least efficient miners will end up closing, will end up needing to send their machines to colocation, which are more efficient than their own operations.
As the Bitcoin price drops, then there's a chance to buy hardware at a much cheaper price. So in 2018, after the peak of 2017, a lot of mining operations went bankrupt. So then people could actually buy S9s, for example, at $150. And a few months later, they're worth $300, $450 because the Bitcoin price went up. So it's actually a very good opportunity to seize this chance.
We may see some of the bigger players capture a little bit of market share from the smaller players who just don't have the courage to invest into that.
The most efficient are the largest ones, and they will be the last that will be affected in general. So they gain market share and the others get kicked out, and the market contracts and gets, unfortunately, more centralized.
I do not think it'll rearrange the market in terms of bigger mining farms getting bigger shares. There will be some consolidation, but the mining is quite decentralized, actually. There are a lot of large and small mining players. I do think in future halvings, you will see more and more of a reliance on transaction fees. And so then mining will not be as stable, as it'll kind of fluctuate with movements in terms of transaction volume as these fees go up and down. And I think you will see mining and mining hash rate move with these fluctuations.